In 2008, 7-year-old Mason Reed vanished on his short walk home from school. All that remained was his backpack, carefully placed on the sidewalk. A dark brown van, spotted idling nearby, was never traced, and the man connected to it had ties to other children who'd disappeared without a trace. For 14 years, the case lay dormant, until a woman in another state sliced open an old couch and found Mason's red jacket sewn into its frame, untouched by time. Justice was never gone, only buried, and this gripping true story uncovers how one clue, hidden in plain sight, shattered the silence forever. September 18, 2008, the sun sat low in the Idaho sky, filtered gold through a haze of autumn dust. The temperature hovered around 74 degrees, unusually warm for Sandpoint. That Thursday, school dismissed at precisely 3:02 p.m. Mason Reed, age 7, left Kootenai Elementary carrying a red nylon backpack, a second-hand jacket tied loosely around his waist. He was supposed to walk straight home, a 0.7-mile route along Oak Street, then a right turn onto North Boyer Avenue. At 3:09 p.m., Mason was seen by a classmate named Elijah Turner near the Railway Park entrance, tugging a broken strap on his bag. He said he was going to fix it when he got home, Elijah told police later. That would be the final confirmed sighting. His usual walk took between 12 to 15 minutes, depending on stops. Mason never arrived. His mother, Hannah Reed, called his name from the porch around 3:25 p.m., then again at 3:35. By 3:42 p.m., she was on the sidewalk, walking the route backward. At 3:51 p.m., she called 911. On transcript 911 call, Sept 18, 2008, 3:51 p.m. Operator: Bonner County 911, what's your emergency? Hannah Reed: My son didn't come home. He walks. It's not far, but he's not here. He's never late. I don't see him anywhere. Operator: How old is your son? Hannah: 7. Mason, brown hair, red backpack. He was wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog shirt. Operator: Was anyone with him? Have you checked his route? Hannah: I just did. Nothing. Just his... Wait. There's something. A backpack. His backpack's on the ground. Operator: Where are you right now, ma'am? Hannah: Corner of Oak and Spencer. It's just lying here. Operator: Stay there. Patrol unit is en route. The backpack was found on Spencer Street, exactly 0.3 miles from the school gate. It was lying sideways in the grass. Zippers intact, no visible dirt, no damage. His school folder, a banana, and 2 action figures were still inside. But Mason wasn't. By 4:10 p.m., the first patrol car from Sandpoint Police arrived. Officers swept the block, calling his name. They knocked on doors. Neighbors emerged onto porches. Some said they hadn't seen the boy at all. Others remembered hearing a dog bark, maybe a screech. No one could agree on the timeline. Detective Lori Sims, a 17-year veteran with the Bonner County Sheriff's Office, was pulled in by 4:40 p.m. The scene was sterile, she would later say. No signs of a struggle, no shoes, no jacket, not even a footprint that led anywhere unusual. It was like the boy just vanished. A canvass of the area yielded no working security cameras. This was 2008. Most homes didn't have doorbell footage. The gas station on the corner had surveillance, but the tapes were already erased. They looped every 24 hours. By 5:30 p.m., the sun dropped behind the pines, and with it, the temperature. A team of volunteers, organized by Officer Devin Mears, started combing the neighborhood with flashlights and flyers. Every 10 minutes, Hannah called Mason's name louder. Maybe he's hiding. Maybe he wandered. She kept saying it out loud, but Officer Mears had already drawn the grid, and one detail stood out. There was only one way Mason could have ended up on Spencer Street, and if someone had intercepted him, they would have had less than 7 minutes between his last known sighting and the discovery of the bag. 7 minutes. Half a mile. No one saw a car. No one heard a scream. By 6:15 p.m., the search expanded to Lakeview Trail, thinking he might have taken a wrong turn, or worse, been lured toward the woods. K-9 units were brought in from Coeur d'Alene. They picked up a weak scent at the sidewalk edge, then nothing. The night settled like concrete. Hannah refused to leave the search grid. At one point, she was found by a drainage ditch, holding Mason's folder, whispering his spelling words. By 11 p.m., the command post listed Mason Reed as a missing person, level 2. No child alert was triggered yet. The state required clear evidence of abduction. But behind closed doors, Detective Sims had already issued her own internal advisory. Child missing. No struggle. No footprints. Backpack placed, not dropped. Prepare for media escalation. Possible vehicle extraction. Then came the kicker. At 11:43 p.m., a neighbor named Craig Tillerson came forward. He said he thought he saw a dark red SUV slow roll down Spencer around 3:20 p.m. He didn't see who was inside. The plates? I think it had Oregon tags. By 7 a.m. on September 19, 2008, the morning sun lit the pine canopy above Spencer Street. The street, now cordoned off with yellow tape and parked cruisers, was no longer a neighborhood. It was an evidence zone. The air dipped to 46 degrees Celsius, breath visible. Parents walked their kids to school with wide eyes and tighter grips. Sandpoint PD established a temporary command post at Maplewood Baptist Church, just 200 feet from where Mason's backpack had been discovered. A new search map was drawn. A 1-mile radius grid, divided into 6 color-coded sectors. The time was ticking. Investigators knew. If Mason had been taken, the first 48 hours were their best, and perhaps only, chance to find him alive. Detective Sims took command. I need 2 ground teams, 2 K9 handlers, and radios on every belt, she told her team. I don't want anyone on Spencer alone. Meanwhile, Officer Mears pulled GPS data from the boy's digital watch, a cheap plastic Casio model that stored only time, not location. Still, he checked it anyway. Battery, dead. Last sync, Sept 17, 9:42 p.m. Not helpful. Bonsi 7:44 a.m., 911 call from logger near riverbed operator. 911, what's your emergency? Caller, I'm working down near the Pend Oreille Trail, about a mile off Spencer. I found something. Operator, something? Caller, cloth, red cloth, in the reeds. Looks torn. Operator, do not touch it. Officers are en route. Caller, copy that. I'll flag the path. By 8:13 a.m., 2 officers arrived on scene and found what appeared to be a shredded red bandana. But it was polyester, not cotton. No blood, no initials, not Mason's. False alarm, one officer radioed. Sending item to lab anyway. 10 a.m., command post briefing. Detective Sims stood over a laminated street map of Sandpoint. Pushpins marked in yellow reported sightings. In blue, areas searched. In red, inconsistencies. The timeline's tight, she said to her assembled team. If the SUV seen at 3:20 p.m. is involved, that gives us a 4-minute window to grab the boy and exit. That's surgical. That's not random. The SUV, possibly Oregon-plated, remained unconfirmed. No license plate partial, no make, just color and time. A bulletin went out to 3 border counties. Be on lookout for maroon dark red SUV seen near child disappearance. Microcliff. By noon, not one matching vehicle had been flagged. No traffic cams, no tolls, no turnpike hits. 12:32 p.m., doorbell leads go. Dry officers canvassed over 62 homes in the first 12 hours. At house number 19, a retired nurse reported something unusual. 2 weeks ago, a man came by trying to sell mattresses. Said he worked for a warehouse in Spokane, she recalled. He was pushy. Gave me a strange look when I said I didn't have grandkids. Officers checked Spokane warehouse permits. Nothing matched. Microcliff. The mattress salesman didn't exist on paper. A burner phone number on a flyer led nowhere. 3:45 p.m., helicopter unit from Spokane arrives. A Bell 206 Jet Ranger, outfitted with FLIR thermal imaging, scanned the forest edge west of Spencer Street. From above, nothing moved. No heat signatures in the ditch, no shallow graves, just endless pine and the dark shimmer of the Pend Oreille. One small hotspot, the pilot radioed. Probably a raccoon. Ground team confirmed. It was a rusted grill cover catching sunlight. 5:10 p.m. Missing child poster released. The department finalized and circulated Mason's poster. Missing, Mason Reed, age 7, height 3'11", weight 51, LBS, brown eyes, short brown hair, last seen wearing red jacket, tied, Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt, blue jeans, last seen 09/18/2008, error 3:09 p.m. on Oak Street, Sandpoint, ID if seen, call 208-509-1184. By evening, local TV stations picked up the story. Creme 2 News aired the headline, Sandpoint first grader missing, police urge vigilance. 7:30 p.m., search dogs fail to extend scent. Canine handlers confirmed the dogs followed Mason's trail for 2 blocks, then nothing. The trail ended cold at the northeast corner of Spencer and Vine. That precise location, less than 50 feet from where the SUV was spotted. 9 p.m., first community vigil. Locals gathered at the school playground, candles in hand. Hannah Reed arrived late, eyes bloodshot, holding Mason's second-grade school photo, the one from last spring. He never wanders. Never, she told a Creme 2 reporter. If someone has him, please, just bring him home. 10:10 p.m., Sims's personal log entry. This doesn't fit the mold. There's intent here. Someone waited. Someone watched. 14 minutes. That's all it took. It's not random. It's patterned. No other children reported missing. No ransom calls. No messages. No answers. Just one backpack on a sidewalk. September 20th, 2008. 6:15 a.m. A thin fog laced the streets of Sandpoint, blanketing the sidewalks where flyers fluttered and porch lights burned from the night before. The temperature dipped to 41 degrees, frost creeping across lawns and car windshields. The 48-hour mark was closing in. Detective Lori Sims met with her search team under a canvas tent set up in the Maplewood Baptist Church lot. The lead map had doubled in size overnight. The new radius, 5 miles, stretching west to U.S. Route 95 and east to the Penn d'Oreille River. Assume he's no longer on foot, she instructed. We're looking for evidence, not just the boy. They needed terrain coverage fast. That morning, Search and Rescue Unit 4 from Bonner County deployed 2 drones and a watercraft. They also called in Montana Search Corps, who arrived in a 6-wheel ATV carrying Kongsberg geoacoustic sonar gear. 8 a.m. Sonar sweep begins on Penn d'Oreille. Mounted on a rescue skiff, the sonar team began mapping the riverbed north of Sandpoint. Average depth, 19-24 feet, with colder pockets closer to the dam. A sonar tech named Kenny Morales manned the screen. You're looking for patterns that break the natural lines, boxes, wheels, body-sized voids, he explained. By 9:20 a.m., they'd covered 0.7 miles of shoreline. Nothing unusual yet, Morales radioed in. Water's clean, no metallics. Microcliff. But at 9:46 a.m., the screen pinged something odd. A tight vertical shaft, perfectly symmetrical. Divers marked the GPS, 48.2799 degree N, 116.5524 degree B. They'd revisit it later. Meanwhile, on land, local radio, KPND 95.3 FM, broadcast a plea from Mason's father, Jacob Reed, who lived 2 towns over in Priest River. He hadn't seen Mason in 4 months but rushed back when the news hit. He's my boy. We had plans this weekend to build a Lego ship. If you have him, please, let him go. The broadcast ran on loop every 15 minutes for the next 24 hours. Microcliff. At 10:11 a.m., the station received a silent call. Open line, no voice, no hang-up. Duration, 47 seconds. The number was untraceable. 11:20 a.m., ground search turns east. Volunteers expanded into the Odin Bay forest line, where sightings of a kid in red had trickled in overnight. Among the volunteers, retired schoolteacher Margie Ellsworth, who taught Mason in kindergarten. He used to draw treasure maps, she said, tears brimming. Said he wanted to be a pirate, find lost things. Teams were instructed to call out code words Mason would know, names of his favorite characters, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles. Nothing but squirrels, a college-age volunteer muttered after 2 hours. 12:47 p.m., TV crew from Spokane arrives. KXLY4. News brought a cameraman and reporter Nate Cordell, who set up across from the command tent. "This is the most aggressive missing child search I've covered since Spokane Valley in '02, he said. The difference? That one had a witness. Nate's segment would air that night, but with little new to report. 2:03 p.m., thermal drone spots, cold object in creek drone. Op Rachel Kim noticed a non-reflective shape half buried near Turtle Creek, 2.4 miles from Mason's last known location. Officers hiked in. "We found it," they radioed. "Blue jeans, child-sized, mud-caked, no blood. They were Levi's 505s, size 6T, the same size Mason wore. But the wear pattern didn't match. These were worn through at the cuffs, sun-faded. Forensic time-stamping later suggested they'd been exposed to weather for at least 8 to 10 months. They weren't Masons." 4:30 p.m., 2 teenagers. Questioned officers received a tip from a gas station clerk. 2 teen boys, 14, 15 years old, had been seen loitering near the school Thursday afternoon. They were picked up for questioning. Officer Mears: "Where were you Thursday at 3 p.m.? Teen number 1: "Skate park. Ask anyone." Teen number 2: "We saw the cops. Figured something went down." When pressed, one admitted to throwing rocks at squirrels in the wooded edge behind the school. "Did you see anyone with a red backpack?" Teen number 2: "No, swear." Their alibis checked out. They were released. Microcliff. But one of them mentioned something odd. A brown delivery van parked at the end of Spencer Street with no logos. Didn't think about it, just idling. Guy was staring. 6:45 p.m., sun begins to set. Searchers returned, exhausted. The 5-mile grid had yielded 0 physical leads tied to Mason. The brown van lead was passed to traffic units. Detective Sims updated the board and wiped Sector G clean. "He's not here," she muttered. "He was never supposed to be here." She stared again at the street corner where the scent trail ended. It's like someone airlifted him out. 8 p.m., volunteer log. Ends. That night, 67 volunteers, 11 officers, 3 dogs, and 2 drones had covered 10.2 square miles. But the result? Nothing. September 21st, 2008, Day 3. The sky over Sandpoint was overcast, wind gusting at 16 mph, bringing in an edge of early fall. At 8:12 a.m., Detective Lori Sims stood under the command tent, staring at the stack of tip line printouts from the last 12 hours. There were 117 submissions overnight. Most were anonymous. Some were absurd. "A psychic in Lewiston says Mason's in a basement with blue walls and a ceramic duck," one officer said, holding up a faxed drawing. Sims didn't blink. Log it, code it, move on. The public had awakened, and with it, the noise had begun. 9:30 a.m., local reporter makes a scene. Creme 2 News returned, this time with their new weekend anchor, Sienna Holt. She wasn't here to report quietly. "I'm here to speak with the boy's mother," she told an officer. "She's not giving interviews today. Then I'll speak to anyone else who will." Sienna forced a mic toward volunteer Captain Greg Walters, who was organizing search teams. "Are you telling the public you have no leads?" "We're telling the public we're doing everything we can." Microcliff. The segment aired live, cutting to Hannah Reed staring blankly at the ground. Social media exploded with speculation. She looks too calm. By noon, forums had already birthed a hashtag, "Where is Mason?" and others, less kind. Read theory. 10:05 a.m., anonymous. Tip: he's in the water. A scratchy voicemail came into the PD line. "You're wasting time. The boy's in the lake. You won't find him until snowmelt." The call was traced to a prepaid phone purchased at a Spokane Rite Aid 2 days prior. No ID. No security footage. 11:40 a.m. Doorbell camera footage recovered. A resident at the edge of the search grid, Clara Velez, mentioned she'd recently installed a doorbell cam, rare in 2008, especially for rural Idaho. The footage from September 18th showed a vehicle pausing at the corner of Oak and Spencer at 3:16 p.m. It wasn't an SUV. It was a dark brown delivery-style van, windowless. "Pause that," Sims said. The vehicle sat idle for 23 seconds before pulling forward and turning out of frame. The angle wasn't wide enough for a plate, but there was one detail, a bumper sticker on the left rear panel. "My child was Student of the Month at Crestline Elementary." That school was in Kalispell, Montana, over 160 miles away. 2 p.m., new witness steps forward. At the Sandpoint Farmers Market, off-duty Deputy Reed Hansen was approached by a woman in her 70s, Linda Harper. "I saw a boy matching that missing kid's description on the 18th, she whispered. "But it wasn't near the school." "Where?" "Behind the Super One Foods, near the loading dock." He looked scared. She hadn't reported it because, in her words, he wasn't crying or running. Officers reviewed the store's dock camera, but footage had been overwritten. Auerbach, 4:13 p.m., first online false confession. An account on MySpace posted a long, rambling message titled, "I took him." It included vague details about a kid in red and a quiet road, but it also mentioned Mason was wearing red sneakers. Mason's shoes were blue. Investigators traced the IP to a teen in Oregon. He admitted it was a prank. "Didn't think it'd go viral," he shrugged. "This isn't a joke," the officer replied. "I know. I'm sorry." Microcliff. He was charged with interference with an investigation, but the damage was done. The case was becoming a spectacle. 5:30 p.m., Hannah Reed speaks publicly. For the first time since Mason's disappearance, his mother gave a statement on camera. "My son is not a ghost," she said through tears. "He is not a rumor. He is a little boy, and he needs to be home. If anyone out there sees this, if you think something looks off, say something. Please, I'm begging you." The clip aired on CBS Evening News that night. But instead of sympathy, the internet swirled with theories. Her calmness was too practiced. Her tears didn't smudge her makeup. Conspiracy channels called it another staged disappearance. 7:15 p.m., lead from Oregon warehouse. Dismissed a call came from Portland. A man claimed a co-worker at a mattress warehouse talked about a boy in Idaho the week prior. Detectives contacted the employer, but the man in question, Rick Breyer, had been in the hospital during that week with surgery documentation to prove it. "Wrong guy," Sims muttered. "Chasing ghosts." 9 p.m., the whiteboard shrink Sims cleared 5 names off her persons of interest board. The van was still unaccounted for. The SUV tip remained unconfirmed. "This is the problem with frenzy," she said to Officer Mears. "It buries the truth in noise." And then, one last tip filtered through the hotline before midnight. A woman claimed she'd seen a child's jacket hanging from a chain-link fence in Missoula, Montana, 270 miles away. She didn't take a photo. "But it was red," she insisted, "and it had a school badge on it, something laminated in the pocket." March 2009. 6 months after disappearance. Winter had started to break over Sandpoint, but traces of it clung to the gutters like memory. Ice cracked beneath tires. Dirty snowbanks slouched in alley corners. And inside the Bonner County Sheriff's Office, 4 cardboard evidence boxes labeled MR1 to MR4 sat on a steel shelf. Inside, flyers, interview transcripts, soil swabs, plastic bags with faint shoe prints, and no answers. Detective Lori Sims had been rotated off the active casework, reassigned to property crimes. But each morning, she stopped by cold case storage and touched box MR1 just once. Ritual or guilt, she couldn't say. "If we give up the rhythm," she told Officer Mears quietly one morning, "the thread snaps. I don't want to be the one who drops it." April 16th, 2009, 7 months gone. At Lakeview Park, Hannah Reed organized a candlelight vigil. Just 27 people came. There were no TV vans this time, no news anchors, just a folding table, hand-printed flyers, and a coffee thermos that went untouched. She stood alone with a mic connected to a rented speaker. Wind fuzzed her words, but she spoke anyway. Mason liked cinnamon toast. He hated the crust. He used to fall asleep holding a dinosaur, not a stuffed one, a plastic one with a broken tail. He was real. He is real. Then she held up one of his drawings, a boy in cardboard armor, stick sword raised, and block letters that read, "I protect Mom." Her hand trembled slightly. She didn't cry. She just folded the paper and sat down. Microcliff. That drawing would be seen again, not in a scrapbook or memorial, but in a place impossible to explain. September 18th, 2009, 1 year without Mason. Detective Sims stood in the newsroom of Creme 2, offering a carefully worded segment. She stuck to facts, timestamps, geography. Reporter: "Do you believe Mason is still alive?" Sims: "We haven't found remains. We haven't found a trace. In my experience, that silence is not always the worst answer. Sometimes it means the game isn't over." The 6-minute segment aired across northern Idaho. Tips ticked upward for 48 hours. Then silence again. On Reddit, under R Unresolved Mysteries, the Mason thread crossed 1,000 comments. Some users proposed that Mason never left the school. Others insisted a nearby property held secrets. One detailed thread argued, "The bag was found too carefully, upright, not tossed. It was a message, not a mistake." Microcliff. That post triggered a chain of emails to Sandpoint PD, most ignored, but one included a reference photo from a 2003 Oregon case, a backpack staged exactly the same way. On October 2nd, 2009, new clue from old footage. School officials under pressure released a bus surveillance video. The 3:14 p.m. timestamp showed Spencer Street clean and clear, no backpack in sight. Hannah called 911 at 3:51, stating the bag was just sitting there. "So it was placed after the window," Sims told a clerk, scribbling in her logbook, "after the SUV, after the kids were gone." The placement was intentional, too intentional. A phantom timeline began to emerge. 2010, Fade and Fracture. By the end of the year, the case file had gathered dust. Hannah moved to Coeur d'Alene, unable to walk past Mason's school. She left his room untouched, bed made, toys aligned, shoes still beneath the dresser. Jacob Reed filed a civil suit against the school district, claiming they failed to enact secure release protocols. The case was dismissed. "We can't sue the air," Jacob told the Sandpoint Eagle. "We can't sue silence." March 2011, official cold case designation. The Bonner County Sheriff's Office issued a formal cold case designation. Detective Sims requested to keep her unofficial role as liaison. "This isn't closure," she told the press. "This is endurance." One reporter asked if she believed Mason was dead. "I believe he is not gone. At least not fully. Not yet." The press moved on. Funding shifted. The tip line rang only during storms or anniversaries. 2012, the pattern emerges. A data analyst turned blogger named Ellis Roy began publishing long-form cold case theory posts. One, titled "The Backpack Code," made waves across missing person forums. Roy cross-referenced 5 unsolved disappearances between 1994 and 2009 in the Pacific Northwest. All of them involved children's belongings found placed, not dropped. "These objects aren't evidence," he wrote. "They're signals. Someone's marking their path. Not to confess, to brag." Sims bookmarked the article. "We're not dealing with impulse," she told Mears. "This is someone who watches, studies, waits." 2013, the couch moves through Montana. In Billings, a woman named Tanya Fairchild browsed a garage sale. She nearly purchased a large green sectional couch but changed her mind due to a weird smell. She picked the one beside it instead. The green couch was sold to a man driving a beat-up Chevy flatbed, headed west. The couch was resold 3 weeks later in Kalispell. No one tracked it. No one recorded serial numbers. It became just another piece of furniture. Microcliff. But years later, when someone tried to reupholster that couch, they would slice open history. 2014, the birthday no one celebrated. On what would have been Mason's 13th birthday, Hannah returned to Sandpoint alone. She placed a white carnation by the street lamp where the backpack had been found. The tenant let her pass without questions. He would have had a deep voice by now, she whispered to herself. He would have had opinions, favorite songs, crushes. No reporters showed, no cameras clicked. Only one mother, one streetlight, and the long, undisturbed quiet that had replaced her son's voice. 2015, 10 years gone. The cold case room had changed. Detectives came and went. Boxes shifted. Fluorescent bulbs hummed overhead like tinnitus. But the file for Mason Reed, still marked pending, active liaison, Sims, remained untouched on Shelf B. Except now, Detective Lori Sims was retired. Her last act before leaving was to digitize all 4 boxes. "It's all in there," she told the incoming detective, Annika Rowe, as she handed her a password-protected hard drive. "You don't have to read it all, but one day you will. One day, something cracks." Rowe nodded. "I'll treat it like it's mine." And she did. 2016, the digital awakening Detective Rowe was 33 years old, veteran of cyber fraud units, first cold case assignment. She logged 127 hours reviewing the Mason Reed file, including transcribed interviews, thermal drone logs, and radio chatter. But what stuck with her was Box MR2, a list of dead-end tips from 2008, typed by hand. One line read, "Caller, L. Harper, elderly, saw boy near Super One Foods. Looked scared. Call not pursued." Rowe blinked. Micro Cliff. That name surfaced again in a 2011 tip from another case, this time regarding a different missing child, Rebecca Lane, also seen near a loading dock. Also dismissed. Coincidence? Rowe didn't think so. 2017, Rowe reopens the van leads. The van. The thread everyone had dropped. Brown. No logo. Possibly Kalispell school bumper sticker. Spotted idling near Spencer and Oak. Rowe pulled DMV records for all Montana-based registrations for unmarked brown vans between 2007-2009. There were 142 matches. She filtered by resale history, then by cross-state movement. By week's end, she had 5 names. One stood out, Douglas Kemper, 59, registered a brown 1999 Dodge Ram van in Kalispell. He sold it in late 2009. No bill of sale recorded. Kemper had been arrested 3 times, once in 1994 for trespassing near a daycare in Missoula, and twice in the 80s for unauthorized vehicle surveillance, essentially stalking from a car. "He wasn't on the 2008 radar?" she asked aloud. Sims, by phone. "Only way we'd know that name is if he was local." He wasn't. 2018. Attempted interview with Kemper. Kemper now lived in Ronan, Montana, in a converted trailer behind an antique salvage barn. Rowe arrived with a uniformed officer, warrant not in hand, only curiosity. Rowe: "Mr. Kemper, do you recall being in Sandpoint in September of 2008? Kemper: "I don't recall where I was yesterday." Rowe: "You owned a brown Dodge Ram with a bumper sticker from Crestline Elementary." Kemper smiles faintly. "Lot of people shop at thrift stores." Rowe: "This was before it was resold. You placed the sticker yourself." Kemper: "You can't prove that. They left without an arrest. No search allowed." Micro Cliff. 3 weeks later, Kemper sold the trailer and moved. Forwarding address not listed. 2019. Legal filing. Reed v. Unknown. With Rowe's help, Hannah Reed filed a petition to have Mason declared legally deceased, not because she believed he was gone, but to unlock records, unseal files, and press for private sector forensics. The petition was granted conditionally, pending final proof by 2025. "I hated doing it," she told local news, "but I need the door open to close it." She didn't have a grave. She didn't want one, but she wanted control again, even if only legally. 2020. The rise of digital conspiracies. The pandemic kept people indoors. Cold cases went viral. TikTokers and YouTubers turned real pain into content. The Mason Reed case gained traction through an influencer named A Lost and Found Files, who narrated disappearances in soft piano over drone footage. One episode garnered 4.2 million views. What if the couch was moved to hide the child, not the evidence? What couch? No one knew. Not yet. But the theory took root. The idea that objects were not abandoned at crime scenes, but relocated and repurposed. Theories multiplied. Subreddits split into factions. Some believed Mason had been trafficked. Others believed he was still alive, locked somewhere, leaving clues. Microcliff. One post from a user claiming to have worked at an Idaho upholstery shop in 2011 mentioned a couch with a sewn-in square that didn't match the interior. The thread was deleted within 48 hours. 2021, Roe reaches out to Sims. Roe, you ever check furniture store logs? Sims, no one was thinking like that in 08 or in 12. What are you seeing? Roe, trail of resale, no names, just objects, all moving northwest. Sims, how many states? Roe, at least 3, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, maybe more. Sims, find the couch. Late 2021, the quiet tip. In Kalispell, a woman named Heather Lambert posted in a local Facebook group about a weird find in a secondhand couch. She'd purchased it at a yard sale in summer 2022. During reupholstery, she found a child's red jacket sewn deep inside the couch frame. She uploaded a photo, just one. It showed a tag that read, Kootenai Elementary, Mason R., and a laminated ID in the breast pocket.